I'm often asked how the care service began. At a meeting in the town in 1986, it was suggested by a local chemist that there were gaps in the care provided by the statutory organisations, and there were local people who were finding life and how to cope with it difficult. A working group was formed to set up the Axminster Care Service. Well, that was 20 years ago, 4 years after we started the care service, and a lot has changed since then, including the hairstyles.
Axminster, nestled in the very heart of the Devon countryside, is the epitome of market town rural living, a friendly community set within rolling green fields, a world away from the busy cities. For most, Axminster is a place of comfort and plenty, a place to grow up, raise a family, live, work or enjoy a well-earned retirement. But for some, there still remains the prospect of isolation and loneliness, where life can be a struggle. But Axminster has had a helping hand, a team of volunteers determined to make sure everybody has access to care and support, regardless of status. Run from its base in Charity Togs, South Street, the Axminster Care Service is a charity dedicated to providing the community what it needs when it needs it. If you live within the EX13 Axminster postcode area, you will have been sent one of these: the Axminster Care Service information leaflet, a list of names and numbers of people and organisations provided to help you, whatever your circumstances.
Everybody in our community have had a leaflet about care service, and then when people move into the area I also give them a leaflet about. So we all constantly try and spread the word. What we've historically faced, and what I think to a certain extent we still do, is that we're a small market town on the borders. So we're far from Exeter, Taunton, Dorchester, so people can't get acute services. They always need transport to get to places. And also for shopping, simply shopping. We happen now to have one shop in Axminster where you can get, say, children's shoes from, but there isn't a lot here. Axminster Care Service helps by always being there. It is always there, whereas other government projects can be withdrawn. And it helps by being able to offer such a wide variety of possibilities. So from a pair of shoes, child going to school, £30, that's quite a lot maybe for a family to find. For a child to do a post-school activity, funding for that, they could, it's just this variety. A group of mothers want to start up a group and they'll give them some funding costs to start. So I think it is that sense that they are open to any idea. And to a certain extent, anybody can ask. Anybody is able to ask. If you live in this catchment area and you think your situation warrants support in whatever way, obviously I talk about it to families, so families will come to me and I'll put it to committee. But it's as simple as going into the shop and saying, would you be able to support this? And it would be considered. I think the future for the care service is to have many more people aware that we're there, coming with their ideas and having their voice. We'd like more younger voices, and for people to see this, again, I go back to that old-fashioned word of charity, but more as a resource for this community. But it is that sense of a community supporting itself when it's able in this really non-judgmental, open way. So it's not the old-fashioned charity. We are really trying to evolve with that as an idea. And they just are always there and non-judgmental. So I think that's the beauty of care service.
Consistent services in a turbulent world. The Care Service invites suggestions to improve the community as a whole and provides funding and support where it's needed. Neighbourhood Beat Manager PC Kevin Bennett approached the Care Service for help when faced with a problem familiar to many rural communities.
We looked to the community to identify their priorities, and the priorities that were identified by the town and rural communities both involved an element of antisocial behaviour. It's quite intimidating for other members of the community to walk past large groups of teenagers who are doing nothing more than congregating in an area where there's a light and a shelter and talking with their friends, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. We set up a project to try and engage with the young people of the community, to enter teams of young people into the annual Royal Marines Commando Challenge, which takes place over in Exmouth on 10th, 11th of October annually. And that was quite successful. We did that in 2009, engaged with a group of about 20 young people. So we approached the Axminster Care Service for funding, because these things aren't cheap. But unfortunately, the event organisers cancelled on us at relatively short notice. As a result of that, we took a group of youngsters up Mount Snowdon, which involved a bit of a rough camp the night before in the woods, and then we had a guided tour up the mountain the following day in May of this year. And that's what the care service funds were put towards. And a lot of people sometimes think young people get too much gifted to them. So people that think it's a bit of a jolly need to be reassured it's not. And both events that we've completed so far, the young people involved have raised over £2,000 in sponsorship for the chosen charities. The payback is double what the original outlay and cost was. So nobody loses, and that's the beauty of the project, really. We couldn't do it without the assistance of the Care Service and other local community funding.
And the Care Service extends its support to local educational institutions. Martin Smith, head teacher of the Axe Valley Community College.
The Axminster Care Service had generously supported the college in two areas. The hardship fund, where students perhaps couldn't afford to buy uniform, they couldn't afford to go on certain trips, and the Axminster Care Service give us a pot of money every year, which means that we can support students that might be, whose families might be hard up. The other area where the Axminster Care Service have supported us quite widely is funding the appointment of a part-time counsellor. For many young people today, mental health is a huge issue, and being able to support that with a well-qualified professional counsellor is invaluable. Without the support of the Axminster Care Service, we would not be able to help our young people in this very, very important way. Recently, we've developed a relationship around the Accelerated Reader programme. The Axminster Care Service, back in 2009, generously agreed to support both a pilot and then the continuation of the project, and they've enabled us to really embrace the reading programme and have the confidence to know that our funding is there into the future. So the Care Service are very easy to work with. It's a non-bureaucratic process, and as a result of that, I can spend a bit of time putting forward a case. They will consider it, maybe invite me along to say a few words about it, and that's it. They will make a decision based on that. On a personal note, I'm absolutely thrilled that we have the support of the Axminster Care Service. It's been absolutely fantastic from an educational point of view, just to get on with something so simple as developing young people's reading without worrying about where we're going to find the funds from. Both for myself as head and for my colleagues in the school, I think we all feel a huge debt of gratitude to the Care Service, and greatly value what they're doing. And going to their annual general meeting in last year, you get a flavour. We're not just the only organisation that probably feel that way. There are a whole host of organisations locally that are benefiting in similar ways, and so that's absolutely superb.
But the Axminster Care Service also seeks to protect the important public spaces of the town. The Minster, centrally located and an important focal point for the community, needed help in preserving the building, repairing where necessary and improving where able.
My name's Judith. I'm the Associate Priest in the Axminster team. This is the largest church in the team. It's a very old building. It dates back to Saxon times. We've needed to do some major work on the roof recently, and then we'll be watertight, which really matters, because it's also quite uncomfortably cold here sometimes, which concerns us, because we're very glad that we have a lot of folk come and worship here, and some of them are quite elderly, so they feel the cold. And we're also very glad that the church is often used for concerts, and when folk come in and sit in an audience, they need to be warm enough to enjoy the music. So we're really looking forward to being able to make the building warmer and more hospitable for everyone who comes here, both to worship and for such things as concerts and for the use of the community. And that also includes the Minster Minis group, which is a group of toddlers, babies, parents, carers who all pile in here on a Wednesday afternoon, and we clear the space down in the main nave, and sometimes there are as many as 30 children or so, little ones coming, and we want to make sure that they're warm enough and welcome as well. So we're very grateful to the Axminster Care Service for giving us a large amount of money, which we really appreciate, to help us make the building warmer and more comfortable. And that's going to be a blessing to all of us and to the community. We're very grateful for that. Gracious Father, we thank and bless you for the care service here in Axminster and the surrounding area. We remember with gratitude the people who first had a vision for the care of anyone in need here, and we thank you for all the hard work and commitment of each member of the committee now and each volunteer at the shop and on the roads. We ask you to bless their work in the name of Jesus Christ, who cares infinitely for each one of us. Amen.
But it's not only the large projects the care service supports. Most important are the people of Axminster. Individuals who may suffer hardship, loss, grief and pain. Those in need. Working in partnership with the local surgery, the Axminster Care Service has provided funding to support the formation of ARC, Axminster's very own grief and loss counselling service.
Yes, I'm Catherine Davies, and I'm the psychological lead of a service that is based in Axminster called ARC.
I'm Barry McKenna, one of the GPs in Axminster. I am the chairman of ARC.
I had the idea of ARC back in 2005, and it was to create a service, very much a community-driven service, that would allow people to have easy access to support when very difficult circumstances in their lives. It's not automatically a recent bereavement, but it might be something very unresolved in their childhood as well.
Sometimes I'll ask the patient, say, have you ever thought about the impact of such and such in your life? And they'll say, no, that's fine, I'm okay with that. I think, maybe not. And I'll hand it over to Catherine, and Catherine she'll work on that very, very well.
Yes. I took the idea to a meeting at Axminster Care Service, and they loved it, and they actually allowed the service to be created. I owe them a huge debt of gratitude, and also, of course, because of the support of the GPs, because the GPs also believed in ARC, when it was also just embryonic. And now we've just supported over 500 people, and with over 5,000 hours of one-to-one counselling and a monthly support group as well. So it's really, really, beyond all the expectations we had back then. Because ARC, the essence of ARC is, life and death, love and loss. Well, show me just a human being that hasn't been affected by either or both. So of course the clinical potential of it is immense.
Because hardship takes many forms, some less clear-cut than others, the care service is always open to new ideas to improve the quality of life for the community of Axminster. When the town's job centre closed down, Axminster resident Elizabeth Lynn had a revelation.
One night I had a dream about a job club here in this room.
When I started exploring what was the actual need for the job club, the more we looked, the more we realised that if people are out of work, it's quite a distance for them to go backwards and forwards into Honiton to check out what the vacancies are. And if they don't have computers at home, of course, it's very difficult for them to do so. It's both money and time consuming for them.
We have 3 laptops. We download current vacancies from the government website and other
various recruiting websites.
Websites. So we can help people follow up any of the vacancies that they're interested in. We can help them if they need to polish up their CVs or write letters of application, or if they need help with interview techniques.
I think a lot of people don't have access to computers. Either they've not got them themselves at home, or they're finding that many places they go, they've got to actually buy the time online. And we can provide all that free. The Axminster Care Service are actually one of our most important contributors. They've given us a very generous grant to help us set up in the first place.
It's been an amazing adventure because just the right people have turned up at the right times, the money we needed, just when we needed it, and everything has fallen into place. It's been amazing.
Yes, I think we've got a lot to thank the Axminster Care Service for. Thank you very much.
Morning, Axminster Care Service.
But for many, the care service is best known for its comprehensive car service.
September, please, 11 o'clock.
Getting to and from hospital, dental or doctor's appointments can be problematic for those who can't drive. Family and friends can only help so far, and it's important to know that you will be able to make your appointment time and get home with no problems.
Hello, I'm Russell from the Axminster Care Service.
Yes, thank you very much for picking me up.
That's all right. For an 11 o'clock appointment. It's a very useful service, and it's door to door as well, which helps. And of course, a lot of the people we take are elderly, or even if they're not elderly, they do have some physical difficulties, which is why they're often going to the hospital in the first place. So it's, I think, really important. And as I live in the country, I hope it's still around when I finally have to give up driving. Somebody needs a hospital appointment, so they ring into the shop. At the moment, we offer 9:30 to 10:30 a manned telephone, and they can ring in. The details are taken down as to when they want to go, where, at what time, hopefully how long they expect to be there, but of course we don't always know that. The ladies in the shop, and they are ladies, will then ring up a driver or drivers and try and find a driver who's available on that day at that time, and is able to take the person to wherever they wish to go. And when that's agreed, the driver usually rings the patient a couple of days beforehand just to tie up the arrangements. And once that's agreed, we usually fix a pickup time, and we then take them to the hospital. Sometimes we go in with them to the hospital if they need help and they're not sure where to go, and we then agree a time when we'll come back, and we come back and hopefully they're ready, and if they're not, then we can usually find out from the hospital how much longer it's going to be. But we always arrange for people to be brought back. We are always on the lookout for more drivers, because the more we have, the easier it is to fix up a driver with a patient. Communities have always had a tradition of self-help, and Axminster Care Service is within that tradition. I think it's extremely important that the care service is able to survive. We want people to use the service because they need it, not because they can afford it. So we just ask them to make a donation to the best of their ability. Here we are. There we are. And I'll wait for you until you're finished. Okay.
Axminster Care Service relies on donations and the money raised from charity togs. This allows the care service to make quick decisions without fuss or delay. The Senior Citizens Centre, near the Arts Cafe, was badly in need of renovation, and the Axminster Care Service stepped in. The regular 12 o'clock Tuesday lunch club still continues, hosted by the care service. This is a great place for old and new friends to meet over a delicious, inexpensive meal, providing a much-needed regular social meeting place, and everybody is welcome.
Would you like one?
At the other end of the scale, for babies, toddlers and young mums, the Axminster Care Service has also helped fund No Half Measures, or HALF, Health and Local Food for Families, offering nutritional advice and cookery courses, helping spread the word on healthy eating and homegrown foods. But the heart of Axminster Care Service remains Charity Togs, the only shop in the town staffed entirely by volunteers, where every penny raised goes straight back into supporting the community.
My name is Rita Courier and I'm the coordinator for the Axminster Care Service. We have ladies' tops, jumpers, cardigans, books, toys, ladies' underwear, bedding, linens, curtains, gentlemen's shirts, ties and belts, dressing gowns. Our office, which is manned from 9:30 till 10:30 every day. Bric-a-brac, materials, zips, cottons, men's trousers, jumpers. Oh, children's department, jackets, teenagers, blouses, dresses, skirts and trousers, shoes and sandals. This is behind the scenes upstairs. When people bring things in, everything comes upstairs to be sorted and priced.
Yeah, my name's Norman Copland and I'm the treasurer of the care service, but I also work in the shop here, primarily testing any electrical equipment that comes in as a donation. In order to sell it in the shop, we must ensure that it's safe, and so we have to do an electrical test.
In here, this is the hive of activity up here. This is where all the clothes comes to be sorted, with the shoes, handbags.
My name's Margaret Spencer-Brown. I'm one of the volunteers. I work upstairs sorting and pricing the clothes. It's not only a job, it's a social thing. We make friends with each other. It's lovely. We meet each other in the street. The shop has a party at Christmas and we have an outing which they provide, and we all go off and we have a very nice time. So it is a social part of our lives, as well as coming in and feeling that we're helping. A lot of Axminster doesn't realise what the care service does. I must admit, until I came here, I didn't realise exactly what they did. They help the very young to the elderly, and everybody gets included, and the money goes back to Axminster, which is a really good idea.
We rely entirely on volunteers. None of us are paid. We have a really good band of workers. Sometimes it's very good for the volunteers. If they've lost their husband or they're feeling really lonely and they just need some company, then they'll come and work in the shop, and it really helps the volunteers as well as the people of Axminster.
I think, having been involved in the care service for 20 years, one thing has become plain to me is there will always be a need. And the social services can't do everything, and there are gaps. And that's what we said 20 years ago, and we would still say it now, that we need to fill these gaps. The people who are helped certainly appreciate all the work done, and also appreciate the fact that it's local people helping them, not just an official sent in from somewhere else. And as the years go by, we're also finding people who used to be helpers are now actually being helped. And so we're sort of turning full circle as we go from one generation to the next. The committee really feel that they just provide the structure to allow local people to help each other. We find all the time that actually people want to help each other, but they don't know quite how to do it. And hopefully we provide some sort of structure for that to happen. I think it's really important to understand that the people working in the Axminster Care Service are working for the benefit of the local community, and they are very proud of their and your Axminster Care Service.